Great commanders win battles. Bad commanders lose them. These 10 leaders made catastrophic decisions that cost thousands of lives. From incompetence to arrogance to pure delusion, these commanders failed their soldiers and their nations. This is the countdown of the worst military leaders of the war. Number 10. Erich Raeder. Grand Admiral Erich Raeder led the German Navy from the year 1928 to the year 1943. He built a surface fleet to challenge Britain. Then the war began before his ships were ready. He had brilliant ships and terrible strategy. Raeder sent the battleship Bismarck on a commerce raiding mission with almost no support. Bismarck sank HMS Hood, but the Royal Navy hunted her down and destroyed her. Raeder then scattered German ships around Norway, where they achieved little. His judgment collapsed even further. He promised Hitler that surface ships could disrupt Arctic convoys. They failed again and again, while German ships were lost. By the year 1943, Hitler lost faith in surface warfare. Raeder resigned in protest. Number 10 wasted German resources on a surface fleet that never achieved meaningful impact. Number 9. Chiang Kai-shek. Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek led Chinese forces against Japan from the year 1937 to the year 1945. He commanded millions of soldiers. He lost almost every major battle. His armies were poorly trained, badly supplied, and terribly led. Chiang focused more on fighting Chinese communists than fighting Japan. He saved his best troops for the civil war he expected after victory. American advisors such as General Joseph Stilwell begged him to reform his army. Chiang refused. His priorities doomed his soldiers. Japanese offensives in the year 1944 smashed through Chinese lines. Entire divisions collapsed without serious resistance. Chiang blamed his generals, his allies, and everyone but himself. China suffered more than 15 million casualties. Much of that suffering came from failed leadership. Number 8. Wilhelm Keitel Field Marshal. Wilhelm Keitel served as chief of the German Armed Forces High Command. He was known as La Keitel, meaning lackey. He never disagreed with Hitler. He approved every disastrous order without question. Keitel attended every high-level conference. He never offered honest military advice. When Hitler demanded foolish operations, Keitel agreed. When Hitler interfered in tactical decisions, Keitel supported him. German strategy became whatever Hitler wanted, no matter how unrealistic. Keitel also signed criminal directives, including the Commissar Decree and the Night and Fog Decree. He was executed at Nuremberg for war crimes. Number 8 enabled Hitler's worst decisions by refusing to provide truth or resistance. Number 7. Joseph Goebbels. Joseph Goebbels was Minister of Propaganda, not a military commander. But in the final months of the war, he gained influence over military decisions. His advice was catastrophic. He believed propaganda could replace military reality. Goebbels convinced Hitler that willpower alone could win battles. He pushed for total war far too late. He supported defending Berlin even when it was hopeless. Delusion met disaster. Goebbels told civilians and soldiers that miracle weapons would save them. None existed in real numbers. In April of the year 1945, Goebbels sat in the bunker urging suicidal resistance. Berlin was surrounded. The war was lost. Goebbels insisted that fighting to the last man was glorious. On May 1st, he poisoned his 6 children and then himself. His lies prolonged suffering when surrender would have saved thousands of lives. Number 6. Douglas MacArthur. General Douglas MacArthur commanded United States forces in the Philippines when war began. He received clear warnings that Japan would attack. He learned of Pearl Harbor 9 hours before Japanese bombers reached his airfields. He took no action. MacArthur had 18 B-17 bombers and more than 100 P-40 fighters at Clark and Iba airfields. Officers begged him to get the planes airborne. He hesitated. He debated. He delayed. At 12:35 in the afternoon on December 7th, Japanese bombers found American aircraft still parked wing to wing. Pilots were eating lunch. In 30 minutes, the Japanese destroyed 18 B-17s and 53 P-40s. MacArthur lost air superiority before the ground war began. The defense of the Philippines collapsed. He evacuated to Australia and left thousands of soldiers to surrender. Number 6's paralysis on that day doomed the Philippines before Japanese troops even landed. Number 5. Bernard Montgomery. Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery was a capable commander, but his greatest failure was Operation Market Garden in September of the year 1944. He promised to end the war by Christmas. Instead, he caused a disaster. Montgomery planned to drop 35,000 paratroopers behind enemy lines to seize 9 bridges. Armored columns would drive 60 miles through German territory. Intelligence warned that 2 SS Panzer divisions were resting near Arnhem. Montgomery ignored every warning. Arrogance turned deadly. Paratroopers landed far from their objectives. Radios failed. The single road became a killing ground. At Arnhem, 10,000 British paratroopers were surrounded. Only about 2,400 escaped. More than 17,000 Allied soldiers were killed, wounded, or captured in 9 days. Montgomery blamed everyone except himself. His overconfidence cost thousands of lives. Number 4. Hermann Göring Reichsmarschall. Hermann Göring commanded the Luftwaffe for the entire war. He was arrogant, incompetent, and delusional. His failures cost Germany any chance of victory. Göring promised Hitler he could destroy the Royal Air Force in the Battle of Britain. He failed. He promised to supply Stalingrad by air. He delivered less than 1/3 of what was needed. 300,000 German soldiers starved or froze because of his lie. His failures continued. Göring failed to defend German cities from Allied bombers. He promised jet fighters would sweep Allied planes from the sky. Too few arrived and far too late. By the year 1945, the Luftwaffe was shattered. Göring spent the final years addicted to drugs and collecting stolen art. Number 4's incompetence left Germany defenseless. Number 3. Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin made catastrophic military decisions that cost millions of Soviet lives. He purged the Red Army before the war. He ignored all warnings that Germany would attack. When the invasion began, he froze for days. Stalin's purges in the late 1930s killed or imprisoned thousands of experienced officers. The Red Army was left with inexperienced yes-men. When Germany invaded on June 22, 1941, Soviet forces were unprepared. In 6 months, the Soviets lost roughly 3 million men killed or captured, 20,000 tanks, and thousands of aircraft. Stalin ordered disastrous counterattacks. He forbade retreats that could have saved entire armies. At Kiev in September 1941, his no-retreat order led to 700,000 Soviet soldiers being encircled. The Red Army eventually recovered, but Stalin's early decisions cost millions of lives. Number 3's paranoia almost lost the entire war. Number 2. Benito Mussolini. Benito Mussolini dreamed of restoring the Roman Empire. Instead, he led Italy into disaster. Every campaign he launched failed. Every ally regretted fighting beside him. Mussolini invaded Greece in October 1940 without proper planning. Greek forces pushed Italian troops back into Albania. Germany had to rescue him. He sent armies to North Africa. They collapsed and required German help again. Incompetence became routine. Italian soldiers fought bravely but were led terribly. Equipment was outdated. Supplies were poor. Strategy was fantasy. By the year 1943, Italy had lost North Africa, endured Allied invasion, and suffered huge casualties. Mussolini was overthrown in July. Germans rescued him in September and made him a puppet. He was captured and executed by Italian partisans in April 1945. Mussolini's failures weakened Germany and drained its resources. Number 1. Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was the worst military commander of the war. He started a conflict Germany could not win. Then he made every decision necessary to guarantee defeat. His interference killed millions. Hitler's greatest disaster was Operation Barbarossa. He delayed the invasion by 5 weeks to rescue Mussolini in Greece. That delay meant German armies reached Moscow in winter. They stopped about 20 miles from the city. Then came the disaster at Stalingrad. In November 1942, Hitler ordered the Sixth Army to hold the city at all costs. They were encircled. Goering promised to supply them by air. He failed. Hitler refused to allow breakout. About 300,000 Germans were trapped. Only about 6,000 returned. Hitler's detachment from reality grew worse. He declared war on the United States after Pearl Harbor. Germany was already fighting Britain and the Soviet Union. Adding America ensured defeat. Hitler interfered in every campaign. He believed willpower could replace logistics and strategy. In the final days, Hitler ordered the destruction of Germany itself. Bridges, factories, and power plants were to be destroyed. Albert Speer refused. Number 1's incompetence was matched only by his cruelty. Hitler started a war that killed more than 50 million people. His refusal to accept reality prolonged the conflict and increased suffering. His suicide in April 1945 came years too late for the millions who died because of his decisions.